Have you ever felt trapped in the very life you built for yourself? Like you're stuck on repeat, responding in the same old ways, falling into habits that seem harmless at first, but slowly weigh you down. Maybe you've begun to realize that certain emotions no longer fit. They feel like a shirt that's become too tight, not because it suits you anymore, but because you're afraid of change, afraid of the emptiness that might come if you let go. You've written down your goals. You've told yourself, this time will be different. You've started with real determination. But then, one misplaced comment, one small setback no one else would even notice, or simply a morning when you wake up too tired to care, is enough to send you right back to square one, as if you never meant to change at all. Freedom, in the Stoic sense, isn't about doing whatever you want. It's not about rejecting all responsibility or living without structure. True freedom is the courage to walk away from who you used to be. It's the willingness to let go of the image you've held on to for so long, even when that process leaves you disoriented, lonely, or unsure of what comes next. As Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And if you stay with this journey, if you have the patience to keep going, I believe you'll stop asking, "How do I change?" Because once you begin to understand yourself deeply and honestly, you'll know where to start. Not from advice someone else gave you, not from waiting for motivation, but from within your own lived experience, where each day becomes a new opportunity to live with more clarity, more strength, and more freedom to be fully, truly yourself. Number 1. The necessary death of the old self. Have you ever wondered why you keep repeating the same old cycles? A familiar way of thinking? A habitual reaction? Or a lifestyle that no longer fits you, yet you still can't let it go? There are days when you try so hard to change, to live better, yet deep down it feels like you're fighting yourself. You strive to move toward your new self, but you're constantly pulled back by the old one, the version that was easily angered, prone to procrastination, quick to feel hurt or self-satisfied. The problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. It's that we often choose to repair the old self instead of letting it truly die. We think that adjusting a few behaviors, refining a few emotions, or gaining better control over our reactions will be enough. But you cannot begin a new chapter if you keep rereading the old one with the same mind. The old self doesn't fade with time. It disappears only when you're brave enough to look back, let go, and be reborn. Marcus Aurelius, Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, once wrote, "You must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. You cannot build a new life using the same old bricks of fear, procrastination, and hollow ambition. You must be willing to tear them down through concrete action to lay a new foundation for yourself." I have a friend named John, a former CEO of a major advertising firm in New York. He had everything people usually dream of: status, wealth, glamorous parties, and admiration. Then one day, John gave it all up to pursue ministry work in a small town, not because he lost everything, but because he found something more meaningful. I still remember what he told me in our final conversation before he left. "I'm not quitting my job. I'm leaving the man I used to be. He had everything, but he was never truly alive." You see, the death of the old self doesn't always come through great upheaval. Sometimes it's simply the moment you choose to say sorry to the one you love, even when you don't think you're wrong, just to protect peace. That's not weakness. That's courage, the act of letting go of the ego's need to win and choosing love instead. Neville Goddard, writer, speaker, and mystic, once said, "Let go of your old beliefs and hold firmly in your mind the image of the person you wish to become. Then you will be reborn and bring that image to life." Rebirth isn't a distant miracle. It begins when you dare to release old beliefs and hold on to a new image of yourself, even if nothing around you seems different yet. But this journey is not for the impatient. So, how does the old self truly end? First, you're not a piece of software that needs an upgrade. Stop making small tweaks and calling it a transformation. Face what you've been avoiding, a job that no longer serves you, a relationship that wounds you, or a habit that quietly hurts you every night. Every decisive choice is a small death, a cut that makes space for something new to live. After you release the old self, you'll feel empty, and that's normal. Like a room that's just been cleared of old furniture, it will feel cold at first. Don't rush to fill it. Stay in that emptiness, for it is the fertile ground where a new seed can grow, not a seed of fear of being left behind, but a seed of rebirth. Next, you'll need something to keep you grounded. Not fleeting motivation, but a principle, a core value that you believe in, live by, and allow to shape every small action each day. For the Stoics, it was integrity, temperance, and the discipline to control what is within their power. For you, what is it? Thinking differently is not enough. You must live differently too, from how you open your eyes each morning, to how you respond when someone upsets you, to how you end your day. There will be times when you slip back into old habits. That's okay. Don't call it failure. See it as a chance to recognize your old self more clearly and to step away from it with patience. Growth always comes with friction. But every time you wake up after a fall, the old self weakens a little more. If you want to go further on this path, continue to the next part where growth is no longer accidental, but a duty you choose every day. Only when you take full responsibility for yourself will you truly live freely. Number 2, growth is not an accident, but a duty. We often believe that one day we'll finally become mature, that when we're old enough, experienced enough, hurt enough, we'll naturally change. But if you pay attention, that day rarely comes. Not because you don't try, but because maturity doesn't arrive with time. It's a decision you must consciously make every single day. Maybe you're 35, buried under work and responsibilities, and in a fleeting moment you wonder, what am I really doing with my life? Or perhaps you're 42, with a stable home and a steady job, yet every night you quietly ask yourself, am I living below my potential? Then you sigh and think, when things settle down, I'll change. But the truth is, someday may never come. If you keep waiting, you'll spend your whole life trapped in a promise you never keep. The Stoics never waited for the right time. They didn't view growth as a miracle born of luck or the passage of time. They saw maturity as a duty, a responsibility to oneself and to life itself. They didn't wait for inspiration to change. They acted as if there were no other choice. Because they knew growth is not an accident. It is a duty. If you see maturity as a choice, you'll keep waiting. But if you see it as a duty, you'll build systems, practice discipline, and commit to action, even when no one is watching, praising, or rewarding you. Let me tell you about Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychologist and author of Man's Search for Meaning. He didn't just write that book, he lived every word of it. During World War II, Frankl was imprisoned in Auschwitz, where he lost everything: his family, his identity, and nearly his hope. Yet instead of surrendering, he didn't wait for rescue or a brighter future. He chose the one thing he could still control: his response to what was happening. Frankl gave himself a duty even as a prisoner: to observe, to remember, and to understand human suffering, so he could one day share it with the world. He survived not by luck, but because he saw preserving his inner strength as a moral obligation. You see, maturity doesn't appear just because you've aged. It arrives the moment you decide to step out of your comfort zone. Ask yourself, do you have a personal plan for your own growth? Are you growing intentionally, or merely repeating the same patterns each day under a different mask? And if you viewed progress as a sacred duty, how would your actions change? You don't need to do something grand. Start small with a system. Choose one thing that you know, if changed, would make you stronger. Write it down and commit to it daily. Don't rely on motivation. Rely on discipline as a duty you owe yourself. Because growth isn't a reward for those who wait. It's the result of those who create opportunities, write their own plans, and build inner pillars of strength. It doesn't come on a perfect day. It comes today if you choose it. And if you're still reading this, I believe you're ready, not to wait for the right time, but to become the person worthy of the potential within you. Maturity isn't negotiable. It's your duty to yourself and to the life you've been given to live fully. Number 3. The pain of transformation. We often avoid talking about the pain of transformation because no one wants to face themselves while breaking apart. But let's be honest for a moment. Have you ever felt like you're standing between two worlds? One side is the familiar comfort zone, where everything is predictable. The other side is a doorway leading to a new version of yourself, one filled with fear and uncertainty. Human evolution has never been gentle. It is raw, full of resistance, and begins the moment you confront the part of yourself that always craves rest, recognition, and comfort. The pain you feel is not failure, it's the sound of your limits cracking. Just as muscles ache after training, the soul aches when it expands to hold a higher version of you. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and moralist, once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." We easily accept that to build a strong body, we must train, endure pain, and push through fatigue. Yet when it comes to the mind, we expect it to mature in peace, in safety, and in uneventful days. But the soul too needs training, and its workout is adversity, wounds, and the pain we must walk through. Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to help you quietly grow from within in ways that calm days never could. Every time you dare to face what scares you, every time you let go of an old piece of yourself, your mind expands a little more, not loudly, but deeply and lastingly. You will feel tired, empty, and even lonely. But that's not a sign of failure. That's the process of transformation unfolding silently but real. Just as muscles ache because they're growing, the soul aches when it's learning to become stronger and truer. David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL and author of Can't Hurt Me, was once an abused child living in poverty, racism, and deep depression. He weighed over 300 pounds, worked as an exterminator, and nearly lost his life to the belief that he was worthless. But Goggins chose the opposite path. Instead of blaming his past, he began a conversation with the pain inside his own mind. He said, "The most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself." Through 300 miles of ultra-marathons, hundreds of hours of extreme training, and countless moments of physical pain, the thing that truly changed was his mind. Goggins didn't run to defeat others. He ran to reclaim mastery over himself. That is the essence of modern Stoicism. When you can't change your circumstances, change how you face them. Goggins was reborn through that endurance. Each of us lives inside our own invisible cage, a toxic relationship, a draining job, a lifestyle that leaves us empty, yet clinging. We think we hurt because we've lost something, but the truth is, we hurt because we're growing. When you stop making excuses, stop blaming others, and start looking straight into your inner wounds, that emptiness you feel is not an ending, it's a beginning. Transformation always requires an ending, the death of the false self. You must be willing to bury the roles you once clung to, the perfect one, the strong one, the loved one, the admired one. When those masks fall away, you'll feel naked, weak, and uncertain. But it's precisely in that state, when there's nothing left to hide behind, that you are truly born. Neville Goddard once wrote, "Disengage yourself from the whole vast belief that you formerly entertained and hold on in your imagination to the concept that you are the man that you want to be. For you will resurrect and make alive the state that began only as a concept. That is the essence of rebirth. Only when you release the old beliefs will you have room to recreate the new self." Understand this. Pain is not the enemy. It is the teacher. Every tear you shed, every fear you confront, every lonely night you endure, they're all forging a strength that peace could never create. Like fire forging steel, only through the heat of adversity can your true nature take shape. When you feel exhausted, remember it's not a sign of weakness, but proof that you're doing it right. So, what's the solution? Not to run away or numb your emotions, but to learn to stand still in the midst of pain. When your mind seeks escape, breathe and observe. When emotions flood in, don't rush to suppress them, listen. When everything collapses, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What must I learn from this?" That is the Stoic way, not seeking peace by removing hardship, but finding peace within it. You can start with something simple. Every time you feel like giving up, pause and write down 3 things this pain is teaching you. Write not to escape, but to understand. Because once you understand, pain loses its power over you. If today you find yourself in that in-between space where everything inside and around you feels like it's falling apart, know this: you're not lost, you're being reborn. The old self is dying, and that is a good thing. You just need to take one more step, one more breath, one more day. Beyond resistance lies freedom. Beyond pain lies you whole, strong, and more real than ever before. Number 4, discipline over emotion. Think back to the mornings when you woke up not wanting to do anything, not to work out, not to work, not to talk to anyone. You felt drained, lazy, unmotivated, and told yourself, "Today just isn't my day." But then the next day felt the same. A week passed, a month passed, and the only thing that changed was the growing weight of guilt. The truth is, if you only act when you feel inspired, you'll spend your life in procrastination. Because emotions, like the ancients said, are like the wind. They come and go without warning, following no schedule. Discipline, on the other hand, is the sail. If you don't tie your sail to principles, you'll drift endlessly in the ocean of emotions. The Stoics never waited for inspiration to act. They didn't journal only when they felt calm, meditate only when in good spirits, or keep promises only when someone was watching. They lived like soldiers in everyday life, steady in discipline, no matter how the world turned. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.'" It wasn't that he wasn't tired. He simply understood. Fatigue is a feeling. Action is a duty. We live in an age where every message tells us to follow your heart, honor your emotions, take care of yourself. That's not wrong, but if emotion is the sole commander of your life, you'll lose the most important thing: agency. Discipline doesn't suppress emotion. It rises above it to bring you back on course, like the athlete who still trains at 4 a.m. despite a sleepless night, or the father who still goes to work despite his personal turmoil. They're not emotionless. They just know that action is the only thing that changes anything. Today you may feel passionate. Tomorrow you may doubt yourself. Discipline doesn't shift with that tide. It's a chain of consistent decisions, repeated daily, until they become part of who you are. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who endured hardship without letting his mind be enslaved, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you truly want mastery over yourself, you can't depend on emotion, because emotion is not always clear, strong, or timely. There will be days when motivation disappears and faith falters. That's why you need something else, a system you commit to, repeat consistently, even when no one pushes you, no one watches, and you feel like giving up. It sounds big, but you can start small. Don't wait for inspiration to just write one page at the same hour every day. Don't wait for energy to exercise, just get up and start with 10 minutes. Don't wait for gratitude to appear. Write down 3 things you're thankful for each night, even when your mind is a mess. Because change doesn't begin with inspiration, it begins with silent, repeated discipline. Those small actions, if you hold them long enough, will quietly build the strong person you've been searching for. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to not stop. Maturity doesn't care how you feel today. It responds only to one thing: action. And when that action is led by discipline, you'll achieve results that no emotion, no matter how intense, could ever bring. Think back to the moments when you were proudest of yourself. They weren't when you felt good or inspired. They were when you pushed past your limits, when you finished something you thought you couldn't, when you kept a promise to yourself after wanting to quit, when you maintained a good habit even on your lowest days. Each of those moments didn't just complete a task. They laid another solid brick in the foundation of your self-respect. And from that foundation, you can build everything: your health, career, relationships, and inner strength. So how do you cultivate discipline in a world built to distract you? Start by letting go of dependence on inspiration. Treat inspiration like coffee, nice if it's there, but not essential to survive. Create systems. Link habits to existing behaviors. For example, after making coffee, write 5 lines. After brushing your teeth, do 3 minutes of breathing. Each small action becomes a mental map guiding you toward who you want to become. And whenever you feel too unmotivated to act, ask yourself, if I only do what's right when I feel like it, when will I ever truly master myself? Discipline doesn't suffocate emotion. It protects you from becoming its slave. And when you learn to prioritize discipline over emotion, you don't just control your behavior, you take control of your life. You don't need perfection. You just need to repeat the right actions, even on your worst days. Every time you do, you move closer to the stronger, freer, and more dignified version of yourself that you've been seeking. Number 5. Loneliness is a purifying phase for growth. There are times in life when you realize you are gradually drifting away from people who used to be very close, places that once felt familiar, and conversations that used to bring daily joy. There is no conflict. No one leaves in anger, yet a quiet distance forms between you and them. You find yourself speaking less and thinking more. Gatherings feel out of place. Messages you once eagerly awaited now exhaust you. And one day you suddenly realize you are entering a season of loneliness. At first, that feeling is frightening. No one teaches us how to face loneliness calmly. In a world that glorifies connection, being alone seems synonymous with failure and loss. But the truth is this: when you begin to grow, you will lose many things, not because you betrayed them, but because you are being purified. The Stoics understood this well. They did not seek noise to fill the void. They chose to retreat inward to examine themselves. Epictetus once said, "Only the educated are free." That freedom does not come from doing whatever you like, but from the ability to remain with yourself in silence without fear. Loneliness is not punishment. It is a cleansing. When you enter this phase, the first things swept away are the relationships that no longer fit. It might be a friend group that chats only for entertainment, but no longer shares your values. It might be an ex you once thought was everything, but who is no longer part of the path ahead. It might be habits that once helped you survive, but now keep you from growing. You are not abandoning them. You are simply leaving places where you no longer belong, and that's okay. As the writer Anne Morrow Lindbergh once wrote, "When one is out of touch with oneself, one cannot touch others." The lonely phase is not about fleeing society, but about reconnecting with yourself in your purest state. The story of Henry David Thoreau is a vivid example. In 1845, he left the city to live alone in a small wooden cabin by Walden Pond for over 2 years. No urban noise, no frequent visits from friends, no audience watching or praising. He wrote, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately." That solitude did not destroy him. On the contrary, it was where he discovered a new depth of living, where each morning was an occasion to observe nature, and each night a quiet space to converse with himself. Thoreau's notes became Walden, a work whose value still resonates today. You don't need to go into the woods like Thoreau, but you can create a small Walden within yourself. Simply turn off phone notifications for a few hours each day. Give yourself 10 minutes with no music, no news, no social media, only you, your breath, and a blank sheet of paper. Write down what you are feeling. Don't edit, don't judge. Just be honest. You will discover many things. Desires you never dared to name, fears you've always hidden behind busyness, and parts of your personality that were suffocated to please others. From those fallen fragments, a more truthful version of you will gradually take shape. But remember, loneliness does not automatically lead to growth. Without awareness, it can pull you into the depths of depression and abandonment. Therefore, what matters is not how long you're alone, but how you use the quiet. Use it to read things of value, learn a new skill, or reconnect with your body through exercise or meditation. Most importantly, treat yourself like a dear friend, gently, patiently, without judgment. If one day you find yourself sitting alone in a cafe with no messages checking in, no dates ahead, don't rush to conclude that you are invisible. See it as the stillness before the breakthrough, because the most profound things are never formed in a crowd. They are seeded in silence. You may feel pain, but let that pain cleanse you. Let distance from others become closeness to yourself. And when you are ready to step out of that phase, you will not just be a stronger version, you will be a person more honest, clearer, and steadier from within. Because in the end, maturity is not learning to blend in with everyone. It is accepted that no one can stay with you through every version of yourself. And that is not something sad, it is a sign that you are changing, purifying, being called back to yourself. Number 6, never stop transformation. We often think of maturity as a summit to reach a destination where we will settle, be complete, or finally know who we are. But in reality, the opposite is true. There is no final version of you. There is no ideal self you can arrive at and then rest in glory. Because maturity, by nature, is not a moment, it is a way of life. Every morning when you wake, an old part of you is dying a habit that no longer fits, a limit you once believed unbreakable, a belief that once held you up but is now a chain. And from those quiet deaths, you are reborn not with noise, not with triumph, but in the stillness of your choices. Outgrowing your old self is not a phase. It is a way of life. It is the ongoing rhythm of those who refuse to be held inside an old cocoon, no matter how warm and safe it once was. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." That is not mere abstract philosophy. It is a compass for living. Inner strength is not something we find somewhere out there, but something we draw forth through each action, each choice to shed the old and step into the new. The Stoics did not live to preserve a fixed image. They lived to keep shedding, to be more honest with themselves in every stage of growth. Shedding is not always obvious. Sometimes it appears as a relationship that fractures, not because anyone is wrong, but because you are no longer the person who fits that rhythm. Sometimes it's the suffocation you feel in the very job you once loved, not because it suddenly turned bad, but because you have outgrown it. And sometimes shedding arrives on a very quiet morning when you realize you no longer react as before, no longer fear what once made you tremble, no longer want to argue over the meaningless. You do not defeat the old self, you have stepped past it. Epictetus, once a slave who became one of Stoicism's great philosophers, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That saying reveals a simple but hard truth. To shed your skin, you must accept letting go of the image of you in others' eyes. You will be misunderstood, belittled, even mocked, not because you are wrong, but because you are different. And you will also have to leave environments that once nourished you. Friends who walked with you through your youth may no longer understand you. Familiar spaces may feel cramped, confining. Shedding requires the courage to leave behind your old success, to step out of a once praised comfort zone into a terrain no one can guarantee. But true freedom exists only where you no longer shrink to fit a shirt that's become too tight. So how do you sustain a state of continual shedding without burning out? First, practice regular self-reflection. Ask yourself, does this habit still fit? Is this goal still mine? Do the things I believed last year still ring true for who I'm becoming now? That reflection is a mirror shining into the mind, where you'll see cracks forming, not to destroy, but to open. Second, build new habits alongside releasing the old. Like quitting smoking, if you don't replace it with a better habit, the emptiness will pull you back. So instead of just stopping, start anew. One journal page each evening, a quiet phone-free walk, a 5-minute meditation. These small things are seeds of your next version. Finally, change the way you name yourself. Don't say, "I'm not good at discipline," but "I'm building discipline." Don't box yourself in with, "I'm not a creative person." Try, "I practice creative thinking every day." The language you use about yourself is the invisible border of all your actions. The result of never-ending shedding is not a title or a state of done. The result is a life that is spacious, intentional, and always becoming. A life where each time you look back, you can smile and say, "I did not stand still." You are not losing yourself. You are gradually finding the truest, deepest, freest core of who you are. So if today you feel confused, uncertain, a bit lonely amid change, don't rush to think you're off course. You may be in the middle of your next shedding cycle, and that is not frightening. It's a sign that you are alive, evolving, and very brave. Wherever you are on your journey, remember, there is no final version of you. Maturity does not come from a single radiant moment, but from the times you quietly release what is old, step beyond the familiar, and accept the necessary solitude that precedes rebirth. Never stop transformation is not a passing phase. It is the lifestyle of those who dare to be honest with themselves, who dare to move beyond the old image to step toward a truer self. From shedding the limits of your mind, to relationships that no longer fit, to environments that once held you but are now too tight each time you step out, you come closer to your freest and deepest self. So what about you? Which stage of shedding are you in? Is there something you know you need to release, yet still hesitate to let go? Share in the comments, because your story might be the light someone else needs. If you found these reflections valuable in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can continue walking alongside this journey of strengthening the mind. And don't miss the videos at the end of the screen, where each small lesson will be a steady step along the path you're taking.